celebrate our third exhibition, Bauhaus Typography at 100. My name is Lissa Ballinger, and I'm the Executive Director of the Resnick Center for Herbert Bayer Studies. So the idea for this exhibition actually started 3 years ago when I visited the Letterform Archive, which is a nonprofit based out of San Francisco that focuses on graphic design and typography and exhibitions and community building, etc. And I saw this exhibition at that time there, and I was so inspired. And at that time, Rob Saunders, who is the founder and the executive director of the Letterform Archive, and I started scheming about how we could get this exhibition to Aspen and how we could introduce this incredible work to all of you. It's a really interesting moment for both of our organizations because we're both in our infancy. So this was a true test for both of us, figuring out how to travel an exhibition and receive all of these very particular small artworks for this space. So our goal and mission at the Resnick Center for Herbert Bayer Studies is to preserve and honor the legacy of Herbert Bayer. And our job here is to introduce Herbert Bayer, his incredible connection to the birth of modern Aspen as we know it today. And he helped usher in this new idea with the beginning of the Aspen Institute as well. And his extraordinary, overlooked, interdisciplinary polymathic skills. It seems only appropriate that for our third exhibition, we highlight his work as a graphic designer in typography because that is a work that he is most known for. So our first two exhibitions showed him as a fine artist, and then his work in the Atlas, who saw that both of those exhibitions, hopefully many of you in this room. Great. So, and this exhibition allows us the opportunity to show Herbert Bayer's radical ideas in visual communication and taking unadorned design and broadcasting it all across the world. It puts Herbert Bayer in context of other Bauhaus artists, including Laszlo Moholy-Nagy and Jost Schmidt and other lesser-known Bauhaus artists as well. I truly hope you take time to look at this exhibition. This is, within our lifetime, the only time we'll be able to see a lot of these objects together in this place. It is really extraordinary. And I hope you come back and take a tour and really dive in several times to this exhibition with some of our extraordinary tour guides. So I'm going to begin some thanks. My first thanks goes to the Ann M. Korologos Trust and Ann's loving husband, Tom Korologos, who has entrusted us in helping carry on Ann's legacy. And we have named a gallery in her honor here. And this exhibition would not be possible without their tremendous support. We are also indebted always to Linda and Stuart Resnick for providing the funding to help build this incredible center and for continuing to hold the torch for the Bayer Center with your passion. Thank you to Rob Saunders for his vision research and passionate collecting and for trusting us to exhibit your precious objects. And to James Williams, who's the exhibition designer, who re-envisioned this exhibition for our particular space. So just so you know, this exhibit, when I visited it in San Francisco, it's about this, it's smaller, their exhibition space is smaller than this room. So it had to be totally re-envisioned for our space and totally reimagined. The whole exhibition was reimagined for our particular space, and it takes a particular genius to do that. Creating an exhibition of this scale takes extraordinary effort from my fellow Bayer Center Bauhauslers. Thank goodness for Sarah Shaw, Julia Hrabowski, Ella Rattay, Rachel Hansen, Mary Fox, Rebecca Weiss, and Ann Nolan. And of course, Andrew Travers, our Penner Manager of Educational Programming, and Adeline Travers. Where's Adeline? Is she here still? Hi, Adeline Travers is our Pigeon Scout Bayer Center. And I also have the pleasure of introducing our newly appointed Bayer Center curator, Adam Thomas. Where's Adam? Behind us. So Adam is such an exciting, it's so exciting that he's joined our staff on so many levels. He's here today, he'll be walking around. Please introduce yourself, talk to him about the exhibition and what his plans are and vision are for the future of the Bayer Center. Also, thank you to the myriad institutions other than Letterform Archive, the Denver Art Museum, the Santa Barbara Museum of Art, and also the Aspen Historical Society. And individuals, I have to list these: Susan and Albie Kern, the Rosenfeld family, the Rutenberg family, Jim Milmo Estate, John and Lisa Seelan, Jonathan Beyer, Paul Harbaugh family, Linda and Stuart Resnick, the Berko family, and the Andrew Doremus family, all who have loaned or gifted us works that are on display here. Thank you especially to the Institute's Art Collection and Exhibitions Committee. Some of you are here today, including Bernard Jazar. Where's Bernard? Bernard Jazar, Paul Harbaugh, Kirk Brown, Coco Beyer, Jamie White, all around here today. And Dick Carter, of course. And I also want to remind you all, we have two other extraordinary exhibitions on this campus. So the Beyer Center actually has a reach throughout the entire campus. We have an exhibition on Herbert Beyer's 1953 Atlas on display in the Doer Hosier Center in the Resnick Gallery that was curated by Andrew Travers, and that will be on view for at least through May of next year. And then we also have an exhibition celebrating the Aspen Music Festival in the school's 75th anniversary, and that's at the Pepke Gallery, and that will be up for a year, and it is specifically focused on Herbert Beyer and his contributions to the early artistic vision. I'm looking at Alan Fletcher right here, of the Aspen Music Festival in school, and also, I'm sure you all know this in this room, but Herbert Beyer designed the second tent for the music festival in 1964. So it has a lot of historic references to that tent as well, and that was curated by myself and Sarah Shaw. Where's Sarah Shaw? Somewhere over there. There's Sarah Shaw. So that's a really fun exhibition. In conclusion, the Beyer Center will continue our work welcoming, inviting, and bringing informative programming throughout the year. I am so devastated that our lecture had to be canceled this evening at 4:30. I know you're all planning on being there. It's just going to be postponed. Hopefully it will be later in this summer that we'll be presenting that, and the curator of the exhibition, Rob Saunders, will be here later this year. We look forward to engaging with students, teachers, visitors, and locals. Thank you for visiting today. We hope to see you many more times. The catalog for the exhibition, many of you have already purchased, but it's for sale in our beautiful store. And on that note, I pass this off to CEO and President of the Resnick.
Thank you, Lissa. And what you can see, Lissa is beaming when she talks about this facility and our legacy that we owe to Herbert Beyer, which has shaped this Aspen Institute in so many ways, some of which we are really still learning. The way that our rooms are built, Herbert did that, and our rooms are built for dialogue, not for lectures. And the way that Herbert constantly reduced whatever he was depicting to the simplest of its elements. And that's what we try to do with our thinking. We try to reduce things to their core essence. We can get to the real heart of things. And then now with this typography exhibition, which isn't Herbert alone, it's the Bauhaus tradition, but it represents a moment in typography when ornate script was sort of left behind so that ideas could be expressed and considered, learned, again, in their essence. We take that for granted now, but it was really the Bauhaus school that brought ideas into accessibility. If you think about typeface as an element of how we learn things. It's no coincidence that when we redid our Aspen Institute logo, we moved into the all lowercase lettering under Aspen Institute in honor of the Bauhaus tradition, and especially Herbert's incredible legacy. I don't think, Lissa, you could be more committed. You're going to change your name from Lissa Ballinger to Lissa Beyer or something. Your radiant commitment to the team, to the work, to the community that gathers around here is growing all the time, and so our deeper understanding of who we are as an institute is absolutely infectious. And so thank you so much for what you do. We have a number of our trustees here supporting this project. I would like to call out Margot Pritzker, our chair, and Margot, thank you for your support. Ann McNulty is here, Alan Fletcher is here, Jane Harmon is here, Diane Morris is here, and of course, Linda Resnick and Stuart Resnick are here. And we really have a deep support for this whole concept that we are going to really pursue the best possible understanding and presentation of our identity for years and generations to come through this center, which has endowment support beneath it, and is growing and building a vision of even stronger long-term support. So this is always a resource for the Aspen Institute, always a resource for the town of Aspen, and always a resource for anybody who cares about art and ideas, because the Bauhaus movement, short in years, is unbelievably long in influence. In fact, the sun is out, and I'm pretty sure that rainbow is only going to have red, yellow, and blue. So it's fun to see General Keane here. Thank you for coming. Someday we're going to find out the Bauhaus's influence on the American military. You watch. There's going to be an influence, because it influenced everything. So today we also are giving thanks to Ann Korologos, a former board chair, our first woman chair, a tremendous leader in Washington, D.C., in the Roaring Fork Valley, in Aspen and Basalt, and certainly for all of us here. And her untimely passing brought so much sadness across this region. For all who love her, who love Tom, who love art, who love this community. I've known Ann since we served on the board together 15 years ago, and her commitment to doing things well in the right way, to bringing people together, to building up this community was legendary. And it's not surprising, I guess, then, that after she passed, she made a gift to the Aspen Institute, which she had planned for, so that we could endow support for this center, and also so that we could support this particular exhibition on typography, both those things. And it is in recognition of her endowment support, so needed, and her current support, current youth support for exhibitions, so needed. We get to enjoy this place because of that kind of philanthropy, that we chose to name a gallery downstairs in her honor. I hope you'll get a chance to swing by it. It looks at some of the early work on typography. I think Ann would love it. And Tom had hoped to be able to join us here. Tom O'Connor is here, a close friend of Ann and Tom. And it just wasn't possible for him to make the trip this time, so we'll celebrate with him in DC when Karen and I go back in September. But true to Tom, of course, he wrote us a message. And so I'd like to read his message, and then if I could invite our greatest champion, Linda, to say a few extemporaneous words to close. I did corral her on the side room, but and talked her into it. But I kind of love it when you get to see the crowd.
Yes.
Dear Dan, I deeply regret the recent health issues prevent me from attending today's dedication of the Ann M. Korologos Gallery at the Resnick Center for Herbert Bayer Studies. What a signal honor for Ann to be included in the same venue as many other dear friends. On her behalf, I am grateful to the Aspen Institute, the Resnick Center, Lissa Ballinger, and you, Dan. Naming a gallery for Ann is particularly meaningful due to her deep love for the study of art and culture, along with her significant ties to the Aspen Institute. Again, my profound thanks to all involved. Sincerely, Tom C. Korologos. So now, Linda, if I could invite you to the makeshift podium here.
At least I can be seen over the makeshift podium. So, thank you, Dan. One of the first people I met when I joined the board so many years ago, decades ago, was Ann Korologos. And I was always impressed that when she spoke, men listened to her. It was very unusual 25 years ago, I assure you. She was a great mentor. Thank you, Aspen, for embracing this center. I prefer to call it the Bayer Center rather than the Resnick Center, because Bayer is so important in the history of art. I promise we will continue to amaze you, especially with the Margot Fontaine of the art world. I mean, she's a ballerina and an art expert. I've never seen anything like it. And Lissa continually inspires me and Bernard. Bernard did the early exhibitions when they were on campus. And it's been my dream for 14 years to build this center. And I couldn't be more thrilled. I was just in the ladies' room admiring how perfectly every piece of slate is married to the next one. Herbert would be proud of us. I only wish I had met him. but I never did. But thank you so much for your endorsement, for coming today. Young and old, what happened to those kids? I thought they were for sale in the bookstore. Whose are they? Very enchanting. Anyway, thank you so much. I promise, every year that we do a new exhibition, you will learn so much more about art and the influence of what that man did to the history not only of typography, but to all that we see today is just outstanding. And the bookstore, I've already spent lots of money, and I pay retail.
Thank you all. Enjoy the show and each other's company, and have a great day.
And
Thank
stay
you.
tuned for further programming. We
Yes.
will be
Yes.
back with more programming. Thank you so much. Enjoy, everyone.
Thank you.